Hey guys, today we've got a few spicy builds courtesy of Rekkles. He is playing these over in Korean Challenger right now and floating around top 50, maybe top 100 on the ladder already. He's boot camping over there right now, and I'm going to throw a link below if you want to check out his profile. But yeah, he got to Challenger with like a 60+% win rate, I think. Now it's dropping a bit, but he's playing against all the Korean pros all day. Now anyway, he is trying some crazy stuff out, and I think it's actually nice to have some different builds for AD carries that can work. There are two main ones that I think are really cool, and we're going to be looking at those today. Obviously, you might want to test these out in normal games first, but we're going to be explaining the builds, and then about halfway through this video, we will jump into a few of his games and show you how he is playing them to give you a better idea of what it looks like in game. So the first is sticking Rage Bait first item on a lot of crit AD carries. He tried this on Caitlyn, he has tried it on Tristana, but the one that he keeps using it on is Xayah. Apparently, when I say that, my English accent makes it sound like I say Zyra, the support, but no, Xayah, the feather lady. It is a very specific build, actually. Rage Bait into rapid fire cannon and then into Infinity Edge. After that, Static Shiv and finally into a Guardian Angel or Bloodthirster. You might be thinking, why on earth would you stick Rage Bait on Xayah? Does she have some kind of special synergy there that I'm just not realizing? And not really, actually. There is no on-hit damage in her kit or anything like that. Her feathers apply on basic attacks, and so they don't fling out with the Rage Bait passive. I did actually check that one. The main thing that I noticed while messing around with this in the training mode was how fast you send out those feathers with that much attack speed at one item. With Essence Reaver and no attack speed first item, you feel kind of clunky, I guess is a good way to put it. Not with this though. After your Q or W, you will be using those feathers much faster, which should mean more AoE damage, like if you're firing them through everybody, more damage from your autos and feathers anyway, and easier or quicker setup for a big blade caller, your E. Idea being, if you have more feathers out, it means more damage from your E when you call them back, and if you have more attack speed, you should be getting more of them out before you use it. The rest of the build is actually kind of interesting though. Like, you've got your rapid fire cannon for a long range hit. Remember, you can use your Q and then your rapid fire cannon auto attack and E for a long range snare, which is good. Infinity Edge after, making her crits do even more, and at that point the extra like Rage Bait attack speed and AD makes more sense. Her ultimate has 100% AD ratio, E is 60% and Q is even 50%. Something we don't think about a ton is that crits with Infinity Edge do 250% damage, so any bonus AD that Rage Bait is going to give you does a lot more if it crits. Also, even better, another part, I guess, the synergy, your W gives you attack speed, obviously, to stack your Rage Bait faster, and they strike an additional time for 20% extra damage, which when you start to crit and the bonus AD from Rage Bait adds up, the extra 20% is going to be even more. He has won 5 Xayah games in a row with this, and did pretty well in most of the games, actually. With the other champions that he tried it on, like a Caitlyn or Tristana, he's kind of gone back to the other builds, but not with Xayah. He's still playing it. It seems a bit odd, but obviously it can work, and if he's playing it in Korean Challenger, it can't be that bad. The other one I want to look at today in this video is the double tier Ezreal build that he has been running and building recently. This time it is in every single game. Sometimes he even buys a Zhonya, like no joke, actually, as his defensive item. Manamune and Iceborne are his normal core though. Then sometimes it's into Blade into tier, other times it is just straight up rushing an Archangel's third item before picking up Blade of the Ruin King after. By the way, you really don't want to get Archangels or another tier until Manamune has transformed into Mirror Mana though. If you get Manamune like first item, that should be stacked in time, so it's not that bad. Ezreal has a few scaling issues, shall we put it nicely, I guess, but this actually helps a little bit more. So you might think, why would you bother getting double tier? But if you remember, Ryze used to do this at one point as well for the damage. For one, you have a massive mana pool with this, which means you can obviously spam poke way more, but also Mirror Mana's bonus damage is based on 3% of your current mana, so the more mana that you have, the more damage it does even after spamming it for a while. So Mirror Mana really has two different parts that we're going to want here. One, granting bonus AD equal to 2% of his maximum mana, and the part we've already talked about, the basic attacks, or his Q in this case, will consume 3% of his current mana to deal 6% current mana as bonus damage. Archangel as well when fully stacked, so Seraphs, gives you 1400 mana extra on top here. That extra mana feeds into Mirror Mana, it gives you more bonus AD, and it will also increase the damage it does when it applies on your Q or your autos. It actually works vice versa as well. Mirror Mana gives 1000 mana, so Seraph gives bonus AP equal to 3% of your max mana. While you might think that AP is kind of useless for a normal Ezreal build, the AP ratios on his kit are really good. Q is 40%, your W is 80%, your E is 75%, and his ultimate mana is 90%, so that AP actually does make you do a lot more damage. Then you've obviously got the shield, which is 15% of your current mana and 150 on top of that, so it's going to be higher. It's actually pretty good, to be honest. It's going to give you more damage than most other things and protect you at the same time while letting you spam more. I was curious just how good this was actually going to be in game, so I spent 20 minutes of my life sitting in the training mode stacking tiers to try this out. The first one here is just with the Mura mana transform, so just over 2,400 mana. That's not bad, about 49 AD, and when I whack this dummy, it's going to be 273 per Q. Just remember, by the way, that this dummy has 100 armor, so you'll actually be doing a little bit more in a proper game. When we buy our Archangels, on top of that though, it's already got 31 AP on its own, and Mura mana AD is up to 62 already. This is without any stacking as well, and when we whack this dummy, we're going to be doing 326 per Q. When it finally transforms into Seraphs, in the last thing, we've a whopping 3,874 mana now. That is going to give us 77 AD on our Mura mana, like 116 AP from the Seraphs bonus, a massive 731 shield when it activates at full mana. When we hit the dummy, it's going to be doing 372 per Q at full mana as well. And remember, I only have just under 1,300 health here, so almost a 750 shield is massive. And obviously remember, on top of that Mura mana damage, you're going to be having all that AP, which now feeds into your other abilities at the same time. This makes a lot of sense, but obviously you have to stack another tier on top of the first one that you're going to get. So it is going to have like some ramping time added to it. I guess the idea is that if you get mana immune early enough, like if you're fed and stuff, you can afford to do it because your first one is going to be transformed a lot earlier. It's also if you want some more insurance if the game goes a bit later, like it should scale a little bit better. So now we're going to be looking at a few games from Rekkles. These are taken from Korean Challenger solo queue, and he's going to be playing Xayah first. Then we're going to go into the Ezreal afterwards using these builds we just talked about, and hopefully you should get a good idea of what it actually looks like in game and how you're supposed to be using this or what the damage can look like. This first clip is Xayah. It is 3 items, so he has Rage Blade, Infinity Edge, and Rapid Fire Cannon. Watch the damage on the Jhin, half health, literally 2 shots him there, and that is the power of this build, why it can be so good and so effective. So let's rewind very quickly. We're going to go back now. He's level 10. He's only got 1 item, or 1.5, I guess, Rage Blade and a Zeal item going into Rapid Fire a bit later. I just kind of want to show you what it's like now at just 1 item and why you would pick this up instead of an Essence Reaver, kind of what it looks like and how it's going to work when you're actually very strong at just 1 item. So the first thing you're going to notice, he stacked it up on the tower. He's going in on the Thresh now, but watch how fast he actually attacks and pumps out those feathers. This is the really big thing about 1 item. He is shredding that Jhin pretty hard, a little bit of crit, which is nice, but it's mostly the Rage Blade attack speed. Now we're into kind of mid game. So he's got 2 items. He has a pickaxe obviously on top of that, but Rage Blade and Rapid Fire Cannon. So right now he's really just got a lot of attack speed, and you wouldn't think that Xayah will be doing that much damage. But he's going to walk down here. He's going to find a massive beefy Cho'Gath, 2 levels up on Xayah. He does have red buff, which is nice. But you notice how fast he's attacking right now. He can attack move really well. He's doing a lot of damage though as well. Obviously it's Cho'Gath. He's pretty tanky and he's not that easy to kill. But like even just at the attack speed stage of this, before you get your Infinity Edge, you will be doing quite a lot. Now he's going to wrap around, and you're going to see here, actually pops his Thresh super fast with his W active, gets a root onto the Jhin as well, and massively cleans up this fight. He's actually going to chase down the Cho'Gath now, flash in with the Rapid Fire Cannon auto attack, I believe, as well for the range, get the root, pick up that kill as well, and manage to ace out the fight. So the flank was obviously really good, but he actually managed to demolish Jhin and Thresh with attack speed. That's pretty much how the Xayah build works. Let's get into Ezreal. So at this point, 539, not massively fed, but he does have his Iceborne, he has his Mura mana complete, and an Archangels that is not stacked at this point into the game. But the first thing you're going to see, he jumps over the wall. He's quite aggressive. He does a blue buff, which is really good for this build. Watch Karthus down the bottom of the screen. His health bar is going to drop. That is 2 Qs right now. Cutlass and 1 auto attack, and Karthus from full health is now dead. So his Q damage with this build is absolutely insane. Even though you wouldn't have thought about it really, it is really good. Now watch his ultimate damage on the Skarner, chunking him massively. There, obviously the first target hit, which is good, but the AP is feeding into that a bit more. Now dueling with the Kai'Sa, and see how much his auto attacks are doing as well. So the Mura mana damage here, the percentage damage, is really what you're playing for, and that is where a lot of this damage is actually coming from in this kind of Ezreal build, the double tier build. The last one I'm going to show you for Ezreal is a little bit different. So he does have this Archangels nearly fully stacked at this point. It's about 720. It's going to actually transform during the fight. Here's Bathe the Ring King on top of it. So 4-item Ezreal. This is the part of the game when normally Ezreal falls off just a little bit. He can't compete with other AD carries. He is chunking that Alistair though, and now he's going to stay back. And this is quite interesting anyway, because positioning wise, I would run in here for the Camille. He's actually sitting back and knowing that Camille is looking at him right now. He's going to dodge, and then he misses every single Q in this clip basically. But that's 2 auto attacks. This is 3 auto attacks here. 1 more, and that is actually going to be Camille dead. So Ezreal is not an auto attack champion. You have to rely on mostly your Q damage to win a fight. But he actually basically 4 auto attacks, and that Camille was dead. And that is because of the Mirror Mana passive damage, which obviously at this point he has a ton of mana. I think it's almost 4,000 at this point, and that is why that is doing so much damage. I just want to roll this a little bit longer because I want to show you the Q damage really from this onto the Skarner just before they win the game. So watch the Skarner. The auto attack obviously did like 20% of his health again. Kind of crazy for an Ezreal build, but then he's going to go in on the Skarner a little bit more. He's going to actually chunk him a bit harder. So there you go. E, Q, auto attack, and he's almost dead. QSS is the Skarner ult, and that is the damage there as well. So that is why Ezreal build can actually demolish people with this double tier. So that is going to wrap up the video. Hopefully you enjoyed the mix of the explanation at the start and then moving into the gameplay afterwards to see actually how he was playing it, what it looks like in game. But for now, I'm going to leave you with the robots.